So in the operating theatre, obviously accidents happen. How do you do your best to avoid those?
I'll tell you one very interesting way that I do that. In order to tell you, I'm going to tell you the story of 2 airline crashes.
Okay.
One was a plane that ran out of fuel. They were coming into land and they had to go around several times. They were held up in the sky, and the pilots on board did not communicate to air traffic control well enough that they were low on fuel. So they were landing into JFK, and the air traffic controllers at JFK are notorious for being very rude and aggressive.
Classic New Yorker.
Classic New Yorker. The pilots are from what we call a high power distance index country, and I will explain what that means in a moment. But the other example of an airliner that I want to give you is one that crashed into the side of a building because the flight engineer had said to the captain, "Oh, the weather radar is really helping us today." What he wanted to say is that it's really rainy outside. We can't do a visual landing. But the captain's like, yeah, the weather radar is really helpful. And so it's all about communication and a lack of communication. And so there was this very famous Dutchman, and I apologize to the good people of the Netherlands for mispronouncing his name, but his name is Geert Hofstede, a very highly celebrated social psychologist and anthropologist who studied employees at IBM all around the world. And he identified those countries where there was a very big hierarchy, so where lower level employees felt able to challenge their superiors and where they were not able to challenge their superiors. So countries like Malaysia and other Eastern countries have a very high power distance index. Countries like Austria and New Zealand have a very low power distance index. And ironically, if the first officer is flying the plane, it is safer than the captain flying the plane, because the captain feels that he can say something if he sees something going wrong. Whereas if it's the captain flying the plane and the first officer is seeing something wrong, he may not feel empowered to say so. He may hint at it. He's just hinting at the captain. And that's why accidents happen. And so in the operating theatre, one of the ways I try and minimize that power distance index is by getting everybody in there to call me by my first name. Then I am much more approachable. They can say, "Hey, I don't think this is going right," or "Hey, this piece of equipment is missing." And I've seen it with my own eyes in the operating theatre in England. A very junior nurse one time pointed out that there was a tray missing. "Hush, hush, hush, no, you're wrong." And she didn't feel empowered enough to speak up again. And the surgery proceeded, ended up as a mess because there was a tray missing. And so that's one of the ways that I try and empower people to speak up when they think that something is going wrong.